Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. A Ripple customer utilizing on-demand liquidity, that is XRP, as a bridge currency, moving money all over the planet, talks about what to expect. It talks about just the fact that there's a real-world use case. And which Ripple customer am I talking about? None other than FlashFX, a notable remittance company, at least in the world of the XRP community. I think most of us are well aware of them. But there was a new video put out by my fellow XRP YouTuber, Crypto Eddie, and it was picked up by Crypto Media, so really cool stuff. That video is about 43 minutes long, so this one's kind of come in a little bit shorter than that. I would say that. I'll try to not get too yappy about it, all right? But still, this is really cool stuff. A lot of valuable information was shared, so I think you're going to find this fascinating. So I'm going to run through that primarily, along with a couple other items. But before we go any further here, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It's a reasonable thing to do. I promise you there are worse ways to spend your time. So here's the headline from this new article from today. Ripple crypto remittance platform solves real-world problem, says FlashFX co-founder. The co-founder of FlashFX, an international money transfer company, says Ripple's cryptocurrency-based remittance product is the real deal. FlashFX is a longtime Ripple partner and was one of the first companies to begin using Ripple's on-demand liquidity, ODL, which uses XRP to move money across borders. In a new interview with Crypto Eddie, Nicholas Steiger responds to Ripple detractors who question the company's business model. And I'll tell you what, there's no shortage of detractors out there. Just go ahead and hop on the Twitters, hop on the crypto sphere there. It's wild. It's a bunch of nonsensical stuff out there. But hey, I'll tell you what, if you're a long-time Bitcoin holder and your bags are pretty heavy, maybe you don't want other coins to find success. But I'll tell you what, it's not just Bitcoin maxis. I'm not really a fan of maximalists of any kind. Not on a personal level, I'm not talking about that, but just conceptually, I'm not a fan of just anybody who thinks that it makes sense that one coin will rule all the others and it doesn't make sense to have more than one cryptocurrency. I think that humans have already sufficiently proven that interests are not going to align the world over. We're not going to have some sort of one world currency or something like that. That's what Bitcoin was supposed to be, but what actually happened? Well, a bunch of other cryptocurrencies were created, and they're their own little silos of value the world over, and none of them interoperate. So no, that's not going to happen, and that's not going to change. Anyway, when asked if Ripple pays FlashFX to be a client, and if on-demand liquidity is a scam, Steiger said his company made a strategic decision to use Ripple early on. And he gets pretty blunt with his answer here, so I actually really enjoyed listening to this one. Check this out. Listen up. Here's a quote from the CEO. For us, we've wanted to use Ripple for a long time, and we see the value. We still use Swift. We now use on-demand liquidity. We have our own integration that we had from day one on Ledger, where we're using XRP. It's not a scam. It solves a real-world problem. It solves a real use case. A use case that I've been believing in for a long time. And if you think about it, and that's a great quote from him, what better? Think about this. Think about it this way. I've made the point in the past. Any Ripple customer that has ever spoken publicly about their usage of XRP as a bridge currency, specifically using on-demand liquidity, they don't just say, "Oh yeah, it was kind of okay. It worked for us." They praise it. They're talking about, look at what you said here. It's not only not a scam. He was directly asked that. That's why that was brought up, of course. It solves a real use case, a use case that I've been believing in for a long time. And by the way, guys, there is no other solution. There is no other solution. And so that's why for me, I think that many of us, frankly, I'm going to be honest, I want to talk about this more in a different video, but I'll just tell you right now, I think that many of us here in the XRP community and crypto, I don't think, even those of us that acknowledge, okay, it's early days, I'm not sure that we all understand the degree to which it is indeed early days. And there was a particular piece that I read just the other day that got me thinking even more in depth about this. And I'm going to have to make a video about it, but I think we are super duper early. Now, that's not to say that we won't see tremendous price action in the short term, but in terms of true value driving price in a reasonable fashion for the long haul, I think we are very far away. Very far away. There's a reason that every altcoin on the market is following the price action of Bitcoin. But I also see this bigger picture, and this is really a very significant point, where the true value of a cryptocurrency is what's going to be most important longer. And of course, I always say things, my little tagline, one of them is utility matters and will win the day. That's my investment thesis, of course. But I think that ultimately, as far as it pertains to the need for a real use case, it's going to take a long time for certain use cases to get fleshed out in a way that's, that it's adopted on a truly massively global scale. But I firmly believe that the price action for those cryptocurrencies that are solving such massive problems, the price action is ultimately going to catch up. And so I just there are a few points that I'm going to want to make in that in another video. But in seeing this. This is one of the other things that got me thinking along these lines also. It's just the big picture, the real use case, and that's why I could not be more thrilled to be investing in XRP, which is part of a brand new asset class, which I know is not going away. And so for me, it's just, those cryptocurrencies that are actually getting adopted, that's where I'm happy to put my money. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because and I don't offer financial advice, no financial background here, but I'll tell you what, I am thrilled about this. Now, Steiger says regulatory red tape is one of the biggest hurdles to wider use of digital assets among banks and fintech companies. Here's another quote now. When a bank or organization has more certainty around the regulatory aspects and is more positive around the risk at the time of using XRP as a digital asset, then they can turn it on without anyone even knowing. It just happens. It becomes a smoother process of integrating and enabling participants using on-demand liquidity. And of course, that's one of the bigger hurdles out there. It's clearly, just from a regulatory perspective, making sure that you've got your ducks all in a row prior to launching in a new corridor. And that takes a lot of talking to all sorts of different governments the world over, which is one of the reasons that it's taken a long time for this all to actually get just get developed out. But of course, another big one is always just this cold hard fact that you need to have pools of liquidity, and just then they need to have the partnership with Ripple. There's the whole lot that actually needs to get launched. So this all takes time. Ripple launched ODL in October of 2018 and says the payment solution has the potential to give financial institutions and companies a new way to move money without having to hold pools of capital in banks around the world. Indeed. And so I actually just followed. I was surprised I wasn't following Nicholas Steiger and anybody in the world, like the XRP ecosystem whatsoever. Anything developers building on top of the XRP ledger, I always try and follow, and I didn't realize I wasn't. So I followed him today. He's on the screen here. For those of you that are like me that like to just follow everybody, because here's the thing, before joining Twitter, I was like, oh my god, my view of Twitter was like, oh my god, this is a cesspool. I want no part of this. But after jumping into the world of crypto, I was like, okay, let's just jump on and see what people are doing about XRP. And I want everything in my feed to just be about XRP, basically. So that's why I do this type of thing. I thought I'd share it with you. All right, next, here's a tweet. Why does everyone talk about XRP, from somebody named BitCarla? And at Rich7_4 responded, because at MoonLambo.io. So thank you very much for tagging me. Yes, I'm clearly the reason everybody is talking about XRP. Now, I will say this, though. I just wanted to mention this. XRP is constantly talked about because there's something to it. There's a reason that XRP is covered so frequently in the world of crypto media. It's not just because it's number 3 in market cap. It is all over the damn place. You can go, I'll tell you what, there's typically, it's more articles than I can keep track of on a daily basis and do so like as efficiently as I want, while this is just a little like fun project that I do on the side. Like me running this channel, I love doing this, I really do. It's my most favoriteest hobby ever. But my gosh, like it could literally be somebody's full-time job to track this stuff and report on everything that's going out there. And I am not kidding when I say that. If you really want to cover everything there is to cover, oh yeah. And so there's something to it. I think that people have picked up on the fact that there's absolutely something to just XRP. And whether or not some of these Bitcoin maxis out there want to admit it or not, XRP is being adopted. Bitcoin is not being adopted. Where's the real value? I'm sorry. It's just, and it's not that I'm against Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency specifically. It's that I'm skeptical of the long-term viability of those cryptocurrencies that are not actually solving a problem. And I don't see Bitcoin actually fundamentally solving any sort of problem in 2020. So if that changes, great. I'd love for all sorts of multiple projects to have long-term viability, but tell me where to look on the Bitcoin front there. Next here's a tweet from fellow XRP YouTuber, The Bearable Bull. Bold prediction: there will only be 90 billion XRP left by 2025 due to mass adoption and burn rate. Bold prediction indeed. And so it got me thinking, what would that number look like? Now, as far as the burn part, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that unless there's substantially higher adoption. And even then, to go down to 90 billion from I don't think, and that's why I'm not saying that he's specifically talking about only burning. He did state, by mass adoption and burn rate. But as far as burn rate, I can tell you in 2019, less than 600,000 XRP were burnt, which is basically a rounding error if you look at the massive quantity of over 99 billion XRP still in existence here. So, but if he meant something along the lines of perhaps like just mass adoption, maybe people holding XRP, keeping it in wallets for the long haul, there's less available to buy and sell. Who knows? Anyway, I just thought it was a fun thing to think through. And so I just thought I'd wrap up a video by sharing that with you. But that is it for this one. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!